2. John and Carol seated across from the desk from each other. John. You see, pause. I love to teach, and flatter myself I am skilled at it, and I love the aspect of performance. I think I must confess that. When I found I loved to teach, I swore that I would not become the cold, rigid automaton of an instructor which I had encountered as a child. Now I was not unconscious that it was given me to err upon the other side. And so I asked and ask myself if I engaged in heterodoxy. I will not say gratuitously, for I do not care to posit orthodoxy as a given good, but to the detriment of my students. Pause. As I said, when the possibility of tenure opened, and of course I'd long pursued it, I was, of course, happy and covetous of it. I asked myself if I was wrong to covet it, and thought about it long and, I hope, truthfully, and saw in myself several things in, I think, no particular order. Pause. That I would pursue it, that I desired it, that I was not pure of longing for security, and that perhaps was not reprehensible in me. That I had duties beyond the school, and that my duty to my home, for instance, was, or should be, if it were not, of an equal weight. That tenure and security and, yes, and comfort were not of themselves to be scorned, and were even worthy of honorable pursuit, and that it was given me, here, in this place, which I enjoy and in which I find comfort to assure myself of, as far as it rests in the material, a continuation of that joy and comfort. In exchange for what? Teaching, which I love. What was the price of this security? To obtain tenure, which tenure the committee is in the process of granting me, and on the basis of which I contracted to purchase a house. Now, as you don't have your own family at this point, you may not know what that means, but to me it is important. A home, a good home, to raise my family. Now, the tenure committee will meet. This is the process, and a good process, under which the school has functioned for quite a long time. They will meet and hear your complaint, which you have the right to make, and they will dismiss it. They will dismiss your complaint, and in the intervening period I will lose my house. I will not be able to close on my house. I will lose my deposit, and the home I'd picked out for my wife and son will go by the boards. Now, I see I have angered you. I understand your anger at teachers. I was angry with mine. I felt hurt and humiliated by them, which is one of the reasons that I went into education. Carol, what do you want of me? John, pause. I was hurt. When I received the report of the tenure committee, I was shocked, and I was hurt. No, I don't mean to subject you to my weak sensibilities, all right? Finally, I didn't understand. Then I thought, is it not always at those points at which we reckon ourselves unassailable that we are most vulnerable? And pause. Yes. All right. You find me pedantic. Yes, I am. By nature, by birth, by profession. I don't know. I'm always looking for a paradigm for Carol. I don't know what a paradigm is. John. It's a model. Carol. Then why can't you use that word? Pause. John. If it is important to you. Yes, all right. I was looking for a model. To continue. I feel that one point, Carol, John, 1 second, upon which I am unassailable in my unflinching concern for my students' dignity. I ask you here in the spirit of investigation, to ask, pause, what have I done to you? Pause. And I suppose how I can make an amends. Can we not settle this now? It's pointless, really, and I want to know. Carol, what you can do to force me to retract? John, that is not what I meant at all. Carol, to bribe me, to convince me. John, no. Carol, to retract. John, that is not what I meant at all. I think that you know it is not. Carol, that is not what I know. John, I do not want to. You wish what? Carol, no. You said what amends you can make to force me to retract. John, that is not what I said. Carol, I have my notes. John, look. The Stoics say. Carol, the Stoics? John, the Stoical philosophers say if you remove the phrase, I have been injured, you have removed the injury. Now, think. I know that you're upset. Just tell me. Literally, what wrong have I done you? Carol, whatever you have done to me, to the extent that you've done it to me, do you know, rather than to me as a student, and so to the student body, is contained in my report to the tenure committee. John, well, all right. Pause. Let's see. He reads, I find that I am sexist, that I am elitist. I'm not sure I know what that means other than it's a derogatory word meaning bad. That I insist on wasting time in non-prescribed and self-aggrandizing and theatrical diversions from the prescribed text, that these have taken both sexist and pornographic forms. Here we find listed, pause. Here we find listed instances. Closeted with a student, told a rambling, sexually explicit story in which the frequency and attitudes of fornication of the poor and rich are, it would seem, the central point. Moved to embrace said student and all part of a pattern. Pause. He reads, that I used the phrase the white man's burden, that I told you how I'd asked you to my room because I, quote, like you. Pause. He reads, he said he liked me, that he liked being with me. He'd let me write my examination paper over if I could come back oftener to see him in his office. Pause. To Carol. It's ludicrous. Don't you know that? It's not necessary. It's going to humiliate you, and it's going to cost me my house, and... Carol. It's ludicrous? John picks up the report and reads again. John. He told me he had problems with his wife, and that he wanted to take off the artificial stricture of teacher and student. He put his arm around me. Carol. Do you deny it? Can you deny it? Do you see? Pause. Don't you see? You don't see, do you? John. I don't see. Carol. You think you can deny that these things happened, or if they did, that they meant what you said they meant. Don't you see? You drag me in here, you drag us to listen to you go on about this or that, or we don't express ourselves very well. We don't say what we mean, don't we? Don't we? We do say what we mean. And you say that I don't understand you. Then you, points. John. Consult the report. Carol. That's right. John. You see. Can't you see what I'm saying? Can't you tell me in your own words? Carol. Those are my own words. Pause. John. He reads. He told me that if I would stay alone with him in his office, he would change my grade to an A. To Carol. What have I done to you? Oh my God, are you so hurt? Carol. What I feel is irrelevant. Pause. John. Do you know that I tried to help you? Carol. What I know I have reported. John. I would like to help you now. I would before this escalates. Carol, simultaneously with escalates. You see, I don't think that I need your help. I don't think I need anything you have. John, I feel. Carol, I don't care what you feel. Do you see? Do you see? You can't do that anymore. You do not have the power. Did you misuse it? Someone did. Are you part of that group? Yes. Yes, you are. You've done these things. And to say, "Oh, let me help you with your problem." John, yes. I understand. I understand. You're hurt. You're angry. Yes. I think your anger is betraying you down a path which helps no one. Carol, I don't care what you think. John, you don't? Pause. Because you talk of rights. Don't you see? I have rights too. Do you see? I have a house, part of the real world, and the tenure committee, good men and true. Carol, Professor, John, please. Also part of that world, you understand? This is my life. I'm not a boogeyman. I don't stand for something. Carol, Professor, John, Carol, Professor. I came here as a favor, at your personal request. Perhaps I should not have done so, but I did. On my behalf and on behalf of my group, and you speak of the tenure committee, one of whose members is a woman, as you know. And though you might call it good fun, or an historical phrase, or an oversight, or all of the above, to refer to the committee as good men and true, it is a demeaning remark. It is a sexist remark, and to overlook it is to countenance continuation of that method of thought. It's a remark. John, oh, come on. Come on. Sufficient to deprive a family of. Carol, sufficient? Sufficient? Sufficient, yes, it is a fact. And that story, which I quote, is vile and classist and manipulative and pornographic. John, it's pornographic? Carol, what gives you the right? Yes, to speak to a woman in your private. Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You feel yourself empowered. You say to yourself to strut, to posture, to perform, to call me in here, eh? You say that higher education is a joke and treat it as such. You treat it as such and confess to a taste to play the patriarch in your class, to grant this, to deny that, to embrace your students. John, how can you assert? How can you stand there and. Carol, how can you deny it? You did it to me. Here, you did. You confess. You love the power to deviate, to invent, to transgress whatever norms have been established for us. And you think it's charming to question in yourself this taste to mock and destroy. But you should question it, Professor. And you pick those things which you feel advance you, publication, tenure, and the steps to get them you call harmless rituals. And you perform those steps, although you say it is hypocrisy, but to the aspirations of your students, of hardworking students who come here, who slave to come here. You have no idea what it cost me to come to this school. You mock us. You call education hazing. And from your so protected, so elitist seat, you hold our confusion as a joke and our hopes and efforts with it. Then you sit here and say, what have I done? And ask me to understand that you have aspirations too. But I tell you that you are vile and that you are exploitative. And if you possess 1 ounce of that inner honesty you describe in your book, you can look in yourself and see those things that I see. And you can find revulsion equal to my own. Good day. She prepares to leave the room. John, wait a second. Will you just 1 moment pause? Nice day today. Carol, what? John, you said good day. I think that it is a nice day today. Carol. Is it? John. Yes, I think it is. Carol. And why is that important? John. Because it is the essence of all human communication. I say something conventional, you respond. And the information we exchange is not about the weather, but that we both agree to converse. In effect, we agree that we are both human. Pause. I'm not a exploiter, and you're not a deranged what? Revolutionary. That we may have positions and that we may have desires which are in conflict, but that we're just human. Pause. That means that sometimes we're imperfect. Pause. Often we're in conflict. Pause. Much of what we do, you're right, in the name of principles, is self-serving. Much of what we do is conventional. Pause. You're right. Pause. You said you came in the class because you wanted to learn about education. I don't know that I can teach you about education, but I know that I can tell you what I think about education, and then you decide. And you don't have to fight with me. I'm not the subject. Pause. And where I'm wrong, perhaps it's not your job to fix me. I don't want to fix you. I would like to tell you what I think, because it is my job, conventional as it is and flawed as I may be. And then, if you can show me some better form, then we can proceed from there. But just like, nice day, isn't it? I don't think we can proceed until we accept that each of us is human. Pause. And we still can have difficulties. We will have them. That's all right too. Pause. Now, Carol, wait. John. Yes, I want to hear it. Carol. John. Yes. Tell me frankly. Carol. My position. John. I want to hear it. In your own words, what you want and what you feel. Carol. John. Yes. Carol. My group. John. Your group? Pause. Carol. The people I've been talking to. John. There's no shame in that. Everybody needs advisors. Everyone needs to expose themselves to various points of view. It's not wrong. It's essential. Good. Good. Now, you and I, the phone rings. You and I, he hesitates for a moment, then picks it up into phone. Hello? Pause. No, I know they do. Pause. I know she does. Tell her that can I call you back? Well, then tell her that I think it's going to be fine. Pause. Tell her just hold on. Can I get back to you? Well, no, we're taking the house. No, she will. It's not a question of refunding the deposit. No, it's not a question of the deposit. Will you call Jerry? Baby, will you just call Jerry? Tell him that, well, they're going to keep the deposit because the deal is going to go through. Because I know. Will you please? Just trust me. Well, I'm dealing with the complaint. Yes. Right now. Which is why yes. No, it's real. I can't talk about it right now. Call Jerry, and I can't talk now. Fine. Goodbye. Hangs up. Pause. I'm sorry we were interrupted. Carol. No. John. I was saying, Carol, you said that we should agree to talk about my complaint. John. That's correct. Carol. But we are talking about it. John. Well, that's correct too. You see? This is the gist of education. Carol. No. I mean, we're talking about it at the tenure committee hearing. Pause. John. Yes, but I'm saying we can talk about it now. As easily as. Carol. No. I think that we should stick to the process. John. Wait a. Carol. The conventional process. As you said. She gets up. And you're right. I'm sorry if I was discourteous to you. You're right. John. Wait. Carol, I really should go. John. Now, look, granted, I have an interest in the status quo, all right? Everyone does. But what I'm saying is that the committee, Carol, Professor, you're right. Just don't impinge on me. We'll take our differences and John, you're going to make a look. You're going to Carol, I shouldn't have come here. They told me not. John, one moment. No. There are norms here, and there's no reason. Look, I'm trying to save you. Carol, no one asked you to. You're trying to save me? Do me the courtesy to John, I am doing you the courtesy. I'm talking straight to you. We can settle this now, and I want you to sit down and Carol, you must excuse me. She starts to leave the room. John, sit down. It seems we each have a Wait one moment. Wait one moment. Just do me the courtesy to. He restrains her from leaving. Carol, let me go. John, I have no desire to hold you. I just want to talk to you. Carol, let me go. Would somebody help me? Please? 3. At rise, Carol and John are seated. John, I have asked you here. Pause. I have asked you here against my Carol. I was most surprised you asked me. John. Against my better judgment. Against Carol. I was most surprised. John. Against the. Yes, I'm sure. Carol. If you would like me to leave, I'll leave. I'll go right now. She rises. John. Let us begin correctly, may we? I feel, Carol, that is what I wished to do. That's why I came here. But now, John, I feel, Carol, but now perhaps you'd like me to leave. John, I don't want you to leave. I asked you to come. Carol, I didn't have to come here. John, no. Pause. Thank you. Carol, all right. Pause. She sits down. John, although I feel that it would profit you something to Carol. John, if you would hear me out. Carol, I came here the court officers told me not to come. John, the court officers? Carol, I was shocked that you asked. John, wait. Carol, yes, but I did not come here to hear what it profits me. John, the court officers? Carol, no. Perhaps I should leave. She gets up. John, wait. Carol, no, I shouldn't have. John, wait a moment. Carol, yes? What is it you want? Pause. What is it you want? John, I'd like you to stay. Carol, you want me to stay? John, yes. Carol, you do. John, yes. Pause. Yes, I would like you to hear me out, if you would. Pause. Would you please? If you would do that, I would be in your debt. Pause. She sits. Thank you. Pause. Carol, what is it you wish to tell me? John, all right. I cannot. Pause. I cannot help but feel you are owed an apology. Pause. Papers in his hands. I have read, pause, and reread these accusations. Carol. What accusations? Carol. The tenure What other accusations? Carol. The tenure committee? John. Yes. Carol. Excuse me, but those are not accusations. They have been proved. They are facts. John. Carol. No, those are not accusations. John. Those? Carol. The committee. The phone starts to ring. The committee has. John. All right. Carol. Those are not accusations. The tenure committee. John. All right. All right. All right. He picks up the phone. Hello? Yes. No, I'm here. Tell Mr. No, I can't talk to him now. I'm sure he has, but I know. No. I have no time to tell Jerry that I'm fine and that I'll call him right up. Pause. My wife. Yes, I'm sure she has. Yes, thank you. Yes, I'll call her too. I cannot talk to you now. He hangs up. Pause. All right. It was good of you to come. Thank you. I have studied. I've spent some time studying the indictment. Carol. You will have to explain that word to me. John. An indictment. Carol. Yes. John. Is a bill of particulars a Carol? All right. Yes. John. In which is alleged. Carol. No. I cannot allow that. I cannot allow that. Nothing is alleged. Everything is proved. John. Please wait a sec. Carol. I cannot come to allow. John. If I may, from whatever you feel is established by Carol, the issue here is not what I feel. It is not my feelings, but the feelings of women and men, your superiors who have been polled. Do you see? To whom evidence has been presented, who have ruled. Do you see? Who have weighed the testimony and the evidence, who have ruled. Do you see that you are negligent, that you are guilty, that you are found wanting and in error, and are not, for the reasons so told, to be given tenure, that you are to be disciplined for facts, not alleged. What is the word? But proved. Do you see? By your own actions. That is what the tenure committee has said. That is what my lawyer said. For what you did in class, for what you did in this office. John. They're going to discharge me. Carol. That's full well they should. You don't understand? You're angry? What has led you to this place? Not your sex, not your race, not your class, your own actions. And you're angry. You ask me here, what do you want? You want to charm me. You want to convince me. You want me to recant. I will not recant. Why should I? What I say is right. You're going to tell me that you have a wife and child. You're going to say that you have a career and that you've worked for 20 years for this. Do you know what you've worked for? Power. For power. Do you understand? And you sit there and you tell me stories about your house, about all the private schools, and about privilege and how you are entitled to buy, to spend, to mock, to summon. All your stories, all your silly, weak guilt. It's all about privilege. And you won't know it. Don't you see? You worked 20 years for the right to insult me. And do you feel entitled to be paid for it? Your home, your wife, your sweet deposit on your house. John, don't you have feelings? Carol, that's my point, you see? Don't you have feelings? Your final argument. What is it that has no feelings? Animals. I don't take your side. You question if I'm human. John, don't you have feelings? Carol, I have a responsibility. John, to Carol, to this institution, to the students, to my group. John, your group? Carol, because I speak, yes, not for myself, but for the group, for those who suffer what I suffer, on behalf of whom, even if I were inclined to what? Forgive? Forget? What? Overlook your, John, my behavior? Carol, it would be wrong. John, even if you were inclined to forgive me. Carol, it would be wrong. John, and what would transpire? Carol, transpire? John, yes. Carol, happen? John, yes. Carol, then say it. For Christ's sake, who the hell do you think that you are? You want to post. You want unlimited power to do and to say what you want, as it pleases you, testing, questioning, flirting. John, I never. Carol, excuse me one moment, will you? She reads from her notes. The 12th. Have a good day, dear. The 15th. Now don't you look fetching. April 17th. If you girls would come over here, I saw you. I saw you, Professor. For 2 semesters sit there, stand there, and exploit our, as you thought, paternal prerogative. And what is that but rape? I swear to God, you asked me in here to explain something to me as a child that I did not understand. But I came to explain something to you. You are not God. You asked me why I came. I came here to instruct you. She produces his book. And your book. You think you're going to show me some light. You maverick. Outside of tradition. No. No. She reads from the book's liner notes. Of that fine tradition of inquiry, of polite skepticism. And you say you believe in free intellectual discourse. You believe in nothing. You believe in nothing at all. John, I believe in freedom of thought. Carol, isn't that fine? Do you? John, yes, I do. Carol, then why do you question for one moment the committee's decision refusing you your tenure? Why do you question your suspension? You believe in what you call freedom of thought. Then fine. You believe in freedom of thought and a home and prerogatives for your kid and tenure. And I'm going to tell you, you believe not in freedom of thought, but in an elitist, in a protected hierarchy which rewards you, and for whom you are the clown, and you mock and exploit the system which pays your rent. You're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. You think that I'm full of hatred. I know what you think I am. John, do you? Carol, you think of course I do. You think I'm a frightened, repressed, confused, I don't know, abandoned young thing of some doubtful sexuality who wants power and revenge. Pause. Don't you? Pause. John. Yes, I do. Pause. Carol. Isn't that better? And I feel that that is the first moment which you've treated me with respect, for you told me the truth. Pause. I did not come here, as you are assured, to gloat. Why would I want to gloat? I profited nothing from your, as you say, your misfortune. I came here as you did me the honor to ask me here. I came here to tell you something. Pause. That I think you've been wrong. That I think you've been terribly wrong. Do you hate me now? Pause. John. Yes. Carol. Why do you hate me? Because you think wrong? You think me wrong? No. Because I have, you think, power over you. Listen to me. Listen to me, Professor. Pause. It is the power that you hate. So deeply that any atmosphere of free discussion is impossible. It's not unlikely. It's impossible, isn't it? John. Yes. Carol, isn't it? John, yes, I suppose. Carol, now, the thing which you find so cruel is the self-same process of selection I and my group go through every day of our lives. In admittance to school, in our tests and our class rankings. Is it unfair? I can't tell you. But if it is fair, or even if it is unfortunate but necessary for us, then by God, so must it be for you. Pause. You write of your responsibility to the young, to treat us with respect, and that we will show you your responsibility. You write that education is just hazing. Pause. But we worked to get into this school. Pause. And some of us, pause, overcame prejudices, economic, sexual, you cannot begin to imagine, and endured humiliations I pray that you and those you love will never will encounter. Pause. To gain admittance here, to pursue that same dream of security you pursue, we who are at any moment in danger of being deprived of it by John, by Carol, by the administration, by the teachers, by you, by, say, one low grade that keeps us out of graduate school, by one capricious or inventive answer on our parts, which perhaps you don't find amusing. Now you know, do you see, what it is to be subject to the power. John, I don't understand. Pause. Carol, my charges are not trivial. You see that in the haste, I think, with which they were accepted. A joke you have told with a sexist tinge. The language you use, a verbal or physical caress. Yes, I know. You say that it is meaningless. I understand. I differ from you. To lay a hand on someone's shoulder. John, it was devoid of sexual content. Carol, I say that it was not. I say it was not. Don't you begin to see? Don't you begin to understand? It's not for you to say. John, I take your point, and I see there is much good in what you refer to. Carol, do you think so? John, but, and this is not to say that I cannot change in those things in which I am deficient, but Carol, do you hold yourself harmless from the charge of sexual exploitativeness? Pause. John, well, as I said, I think I am not too old to learn, and I can learn. Carol, do you hold yourself innocent of the charge of John? Wait. All right, let's go back to Carol. You fool. Who do you think I am? To come here and be taken in by a smile? You little yapping fool. You think I want revenge? I don't want revenge. I want understanding. John, do you? Carol, I do. Pause. John, what's the use? It's over. Carol, is it? What is? John, my job. Carol, oh, your job. That's what you want to talk about. Pause. She starts to leave the room. She steps and turns back to him. All right, pause. What if it were possible that my group withdraws its complaint? Pause. John. What? Carol. That's right. Pause. John. Why? Carol. Well, let's say it's an act of friendship. John. An act of friendship. Carol. Yes. Pause. John. In exchange for what? Carol. Yes, but I don't think exchange, not in exchange, for what do we derive from it? Pause. John. Derive. Carol. Yes. John. Pause. Nothing. Pause. Carol, that's right. We derive nothing. Pause. Do you see that? John. Yes. Carol. That is a little word, Professor. Yes, I see that. But you will. Carol. And you might speak to the committee? Carol. To the committee? John. Yes. Carol. Well, of course that's on your mind, we might. John. If what? Carol. Given what? Perhaps I think that is more friendly. John. Given what? Carol. And believe me, I understand your rage. It is not that I don't feel it, but I do not see that it is deserved, so I do not resent it. All right, I have a list. John. A list. Carol. Here is a list of books which we... John. A list of books? Carol. That's right. Which we find questionable. John. What? Carol. Is this so bizarre? John. I can't believe... Carol. It is not necessary you believe it. John. Academic freedom. Carol. Someone chooses the books. If you can choose them, others can. What are you, God? John. No, the dangerous. Carol. You have an agenda, we have an agenda. I am not interested in your feelings or your motivation, but your actions. If you would like me to speak to the tenure committee, here is my list. You are a free person. You decide. Pause. John. Give me the list. She does so. He reads. Carol. I think you'll find... John. I'm capable of reading it, thank you. Carol. We have a number of texts we need John. I see that. Carol. We're amenable to... John. Aha! Well, let me look over the... He reads. Carol. I think that... John. Look, I'm reading your demands, all right? He reads. Pause. You want to ban my book? Carol. We do not... John of list. It says here... Carol. We want it removed from inclusion as a representative example of the university. John. Get out of here. Carol. If you put aside the issues of personalities... John. Get the fuck out of my office. Carol. No, I think I would reconsider. John. You think you can? Carol. We can and we will. Do you want our support? That is the only question. John. To ban my book? Carol. That is correct. John. This is a university. Carol. And we have a statement which we need you to... She hands him a sheet of paper. John. No. It's out of the question. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking of. I want to tell you something. I'm a teacher. I am a teacher, eh? It's my name on the door, and I teach the class, and that's what I do. I've got a book with my name on it, and my son will see that book someday. And I have a No, I'm sorry. I have a responsibility to myself, to my son, to my profession, that I haven't been home for 2 days. Do you know that? Thinking this out. Carol. You haven't? John. No. If it's of interest to you, I've been in a hotel. Thinking. The phone starts ringing. Thinking. Carol. You haven't been home? John. Thinking, do you see? Carol. Oh. John. And I owe you a debt. I see that now. Pause. You're dangerous. You're wrong, and it's my job to say no to you. That's my job. You're absolutely right. You want to ban my book? Go to hell. And they can do whatever they want to me. Carol. You haven't been home in 2 days. John. I think I told you that. Carol. You'd better get that phone. Pause. I think that you should pick up the phone. Pause. John picks up the phone. John on phone. Yes. Pause. Yes, what? I had to be away. All right. Did they worry about? No, I'm all right, Jerry. Now, Jerry, I got a little turned around, but I'm sitting here. I've got it figured out. I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I got a little bit mixed up. But I'm not sure that it's not a blessing. It cost me my job. Fine. Then the job was not worth having. Tell Grace that I'm coming home and everything is... Pause. What? Pause. What? Pause. What do you mean? What? Jerry, they... Who? Who? What can they do? Pause. No. Pause. No, they can't do that. What do you mean? Pause. But how... Pause. She's here with me. To Jerry. I don't understand. Pause. He hangs up. To Carol. What does this mean? Carol. I thought you knew. John. What? Pause. What does it mean? Pause. Carol. You tried to rape me. Pause. According to the law. Pause. John. What? Carol. You tried to rape me. I was leaving this office. You pressed yourself into me. You pressed your body into me. John. Carol. My group has told your lawyer that we may pursue criminal charges. John. No. Carol. Under the statute, I am told it was battery. John. No. Carol. Yes. And attempted rape. That's right. Pause. John. I think that you should go. Carol. Of course, I thought you knew. John. I have to talk to my lawyer. Carol. Yes, perhaps you should. The phone rings again. Pause. John picks up the phone. Interphone. Hello? Hello? Yeah, he just called. No, I can't talk to you now, baby. Carol, get out. Carol, your wife? John, who it is no concern of yours. Get out. The phone. No, it's going to be all right. I can't talk now, baby. Carol, get out of here. Carol, I'm going. John, good. Carol, exiting. And don't call your wife baby. John. What? Carol, don't call your wife baby. You heard what I said. Carol starts to leave the room. John grabs her and begins to beat her. John. You vicious little bitch. You think you can come in here with your political correctness and destroy my life? He knocks her to the floor. After how I treated you? You should be... Rape you? Are you kidding me? He picks up a chair, raises it above his head, and advances on her. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, you little cunt. She cowers on the floor below him. Pause. He looks down at her. He lowers the chair. He moves to his desk and arranges the papers on it. Pause. He looks over at her. Well. Pause. She looks at him. Carol. Yes, that's right. She looks away from him and lowers her head to herself. Yes, that's right. End.